Hey guys, I'm Isaac Maring and I own and grow a lawn maintenance business currently and have been in several different industries, I should say, and different hustles throughout my years and have really been in the business world and trying to learn and start something since I was a pre-teen, really young. I've always been interested in the business world, so I was always trying to find out ways to make money or hustle or flip something or sell something. And um, I just want to talk to you guys today about a big lesson that it has applied to me over the years and entirely at every different stage in every different industry. So no matter what business you're in, this may affect you. And this is more of the fact of loneliness. And choosing loneliness will only make you grow faster and get to where you need to go, or even just solve simple problems that just need your attention more than you are giving it now. And I've seen this over time, and I think now I have a better understanding of having to set that standard and also make that decision of understanding that it's not just loneliness, but it's also for me, the way I see it is just working by yourself and doing things by yourself. And then so I like to frame it as my own way of I'm going to do this by myself for this period of time. I'm going to, because I have to do everything by myself for this period of time, I have to cut out everything else. And most people look at where they are and where they want to be, but they don't understand the costs associated with those. And a lot of the times there is a lot of sacrifices that you actually just have to be willing to make, or you just don't get there. And nobody really sees that. They always see the good, the easy, the simple way of looking at things of I'm just going to work on this and I'm going to reach my goal. But in fact, it sometimes digs a little bit deeper into you when it comes to emotionals or socializing, with society and with your friends, with your family. Whoever you have around you also might be affected by you trying to achieve your goals. And this may change over time because, as you're younger, you might have certain friend groups. You might have certain friends. You might have made bad decisions with those certain friends. You might be in a terrible friend group that pushes you to do, hard drugs or get, wasted all the time and do illegal activities, right? And then there's also just the very, if you're not even doing those activities, there is a very small bit that still might hurt you because it's not pushing you in the right direction. And a lot of times, these are the hard ones to pick out. These are the hard decisions to make because it's always easy to make the decision that's obvious of, hey, I'm drinking every night. I should probably stop drinking every night and then I would be doing much better. Versus, cutting out alcohol altogether because you drink on the weekends. Or because you have a friend that you get with and you only do illegal activities versus a friend that you get with and you just have fun with them, but you're actually taking time away and you're distracting yourself still from your goals, but it isn't always seen as that way because you're still enjoying your life with other people around you, even if it's not pertaining to your goals. And those are the hard ones to make because they're not really doing anything bad, but they're also not doing anything that's going to push you further to where you need to go. And I also look at this in understanding that there is always time periods, and it doesn't mean that you can't ever have these friends again. It doesn't mean that these people did anything to you, that these are bad people, that they uh, are somebody that you should never even take a look at again. It's a fact of that you have to separate yourself from the pack. If you want to be anything exceptional, if you want to be anything more than what other people are doing, you have to put in different actions. You have to put in more focused time. You have to separate everything else from what you had to where you want to go. And especially when you're in that middle period, as I'm learning, and I've heard from others that are way ahead of me in this industry, and I've seen it for myself, where it's always the most difficult time is your lonely chapter. And this happens when you've grown a little bit more than where your current friends are, but you're not to the point where you can have the friends that you would want, or the friends that are ahead of you, the friends that are already achieved a certain status or goal or threshold that you have not yet, so you can't fully connect with those sets of people. And you may be already ahead of yourself in the mindset to achieve those, but you haven't actually put forth everything else to actually achieve it yet. So you have this chapter period where you may feel you're ahead. You may feel the friends you had are just not really aligned with everything you need to do, but you need to change it. And sometimes those friends are super supportive and they do have you on your back. They do have your back. They do understand what your goals are. They do understand you are going to be pushing, and they just might be focusing on different goals in a different industry, in a different area. And that's where it becomes super hard, because if they're in a different industry, they're not going to be actively helping you on your goals. And it comes to also the saying of nobody is coming to help you. And nobody is going to ever come help you, because you are the only one that can help yourself. You are the only one that can accomplish your own goals. Nobody can do it for you. And even if they tried to as much as they could, they really couldn't actually do it for you. And especially when this lonely chapter happens is when you see you have to put in a lot more focus, time, and energy to create more results more quickly. And this can take up your entirety of your days. I'm talking you're going to wake up and you're going to work to achieve this goal, and you're going to be in the mindset to achieve this goal the entire day without distractions from any friends, without distractions from society, without distractions from the outside of what you need to focus on. And that happens until you go to bed, and then you wake up and do it all over again. And this season can last a week, this season can last a month, this season can last a year or even years. And I think when people look at the longevity of things and the consistency of things, the people who achieve the most tend to do this on a daily basis over years and years and decades and their entire life, because they end up focusing on what matters to them. They end up focusing on what actually makes them fulfilled in life. They end up focusing on things that will actually achieve bigger targets, bigger goals, and get them through bigger problems. And the bigger the problem probably means the bigger the season you have to take to figure out how to solve that problem. And I just know that even just looking at other people who have accomplished great things, you can even look at the top billionaires. You can ask them, hey, what do you do outside of work? And they're going to probably look at you and say, what do you mean? This is my life because I enjoy it so much. This is my duty. This is my absolute mission in my entire life. And if I'm not focusing on this, what else am I doing with my life, right? It's more of a, why would I ever take a vacation away from this? If you look at, the top ones, like Elon Musk is a great example of this, because he focuses every day and maybe even extra hours that put a strain on his body mentally and physically that others are not willing to do. And sure, he does not live maybe a total balanced life like everybody else sees it. But for him, it's not about adding in everything else. It's about cutting out everything but the goal, everything but the mission. And that's what you have to do if you want to accomplish something greater. That's something you have to do if you want to be exceptional of a human. You want to have higher skills. You want to combine all your skills. You want different skill sets. You want more knowledge. You want more experience. You just have to spend more time in that. And I think a great way to also look at this is, the more normal 9-to-5ers, right? When you go to work at your 9-to-5, you clock in at 9 and you shut out all of your friends. You don't talk to them because you are working. And that's set as an industry standard and a life standard of, oh, of course I'm not going to hang out with my friends. They're busy working during the day. Of course I'm not worried about anything else other than work during the workday. The only difference is you clock out at 5 and then you think or you allow other people to share your time, and you allow other people to borrow your time. And the difference is that for somebody that can't lose the focus, that has to spend more time working because the work needs doing, they have to wake up and work and then go to bed without any other distractions. So they're working that entire time, and it's the same as spending that 9 to 5. It's just stretched over a longer hour period, and it's stretched over a longer timeline of years maybe. And people spend years working a 9 to 5, but can't seem to comprehend that somebody might need to work every day, all day, and they don't have time for anything else. And the people that do understand that are probably also working themselves. They probably also maybe don't need an entirety, of your life. They support where you're going. They understand that your mission takes a lot more than the normal 9 to 5. They understand that you have a lot more responsibilities throughout the entire time, you're awake, that you have to take care of. And to understand this even a little bit more emotionally, to make it easier on yourself, I've also noticed you're never really lonely. You're just doing things by yourself, right? So you're never in that period working all the time lonely, because there is other people that you have. You're just choosing to make the decision that you have to do things on your own right now. You have to focus right now. And it's not that you don't have other people that are around this world that are also making the same decision as you are to focus on your mission. And to understand that other people are doing the same thing, I think it helps when you think about your own mind of how you might feel lonely, but in the end, there is other people doing the same thing you are, so you shouldn't be lonely, because they are on the same track as you. They are doing the same thing as you, and they are around this world with you. You guys are just able to work on your own activities separately from each other, because that's what gets the most done the quickest. And throughout this, you're also going to have, the highs and lows. You're going to feel like you need other people. You're going to feel like you should talk to people, and it is okay. I'm not saying you should never socialize with people, and you should never go out and reach out to your friends. But it's also something where you have to understand your friends and family don't own your time. So you have to make it clear to them that it's never, you're never trying to hurt them intentionally by saying, I have to focus on something else and I can't spend time with you because this is more important right now. It should never feel hurt, because they end up, they don't really own your time. In fact, you don't even own your time, because your mission does. Your mission is taking over your time. So sometimes you don't have control over everything. You don't have control over your own time, because you're making the decision to let the mission take over your time versus your friends and family taking your time. And you got to understand, each of these things, they don't have to naturally just always be committed, and it's not a have to. They don't have to own your time. They don't have to have your time. And it's set as a standard throughout this world that people are like, well, why, if you don't hang out with me, then there's a problem. When in fact, there's never really a problem. It's just that the other thing is more of a priority. And the other thing is going to get you closer to solving that problem. It's going to get you to solve that challenge, that goal that you're trying to go for. And the more I've seen this, the more I've been better with it too, and understanding that, hey, you need to also see your friends, and it's not like you just totally cut them off and that you act like you don't care about them, because you're going to care about them. And that's going to be the hardest part, is you care about these people that you're around, but you understand that you can't be around them as much. You understand that you have to change things. You understand that you might have to be around different people even though you care about those ones. And that's really what comes down to the hard part. But the cold, hard truth of it is, you are always going to get more done if you just cut everything else out, if you cut people out, if you cut every activity that isn't focused on your goal out. And I'm not saying, that might not bring you your highest level of productivity. Maybe you have a certain activity that lets you de-stress, but you can't have anything that takes you away from what you're trying to accomplish for too long of a period of time, whereas it affects you not only in the moment, it affects you the next day or the next week or the entire month. And I've seen that many times where, you might have to go and think you do a reset period, but even after that reset period, you have to spend another day or two to actually focus back in on the work. And so that whole reset period turned into almost like a whole week of not being focused, and instead you could have just worked and stayed a little bit more focused and accomplished more. And then it also just compounded over that timeline to get that thing done. And like I said, there's always seasons of this. You can have like a week long. Maybe it's just like, I need absolutely everything cut out so I can work on this one thing. But there's also a long year where you separate yourself from everybody. You need to grow and change, and you're going to have to fail. And when the hard part comes is when you're going to fail, and you're also going to be failing a lot faster, because if you're going to want to achieve anything faster and greater, it means you also have to hit the failures and the mistakes way faster. And the easier part of life is extending out these failures, is only having one failure a year versus one failure a month versus one failure a week versus one a day, right? It feels much worse to have one every single day versus having one every year that you can comprehend and figure out. And the truth is, the more and that's where a lot of the stress and pain comes from, is understanding that you suck more than you thought, and it's going to feel like you're not really accomplishing anything because you're just failing a crap ton. You're failing so much that you think that you might not be able to ever get where you need to go, that it might not going to be worth it, that it might not bring you where, it might not bring you actually success from the failure, and you might just suck, right? And being bad in that period is not keeping you stuck. It's actually helping you learn. It's actually helping you build on a foundation, and understanding that you just have to put in the more reps, and you have to put in more time, and you have to put in more focused time, because it's not about just putting in time. It means you have that focused time. And sometimes to create focused time means you can't do anything else, even if it means you clock out at the end of the day, but you can't distract yourself with anybody else, and you just have to focus on, yourself. You have to focus on your health. You have to focus on reading. You have to focus on just focusing on something that's going to keep your mind in the right mindset for the next day, so that you can start already productive and get a lot more done. And it's always hard to explain it to maybe your friends or other people, and sometimes it does come down to the cold hard truth that you just have to separate from them, and that's just is what it is, and they have to understand it, and not every one of them is going to understand it, and that's something for you when you're having these conversations, or you say like, I have to focus on this, that people are going to be upset. You might hurt people, but you always have to look at it in the end, and for yourself, where do I want to be? What's more important? Is this important to my whole mission? Is this going to create somebody who I want to be? Is this going to create a life I want to be in? Is this going to allow me to eventually show to them that it wasn't to be against them, it was just to grow what I needed to for myself, and that in the end they might be able to see it better after you've already accomplished it. That way you can show proof. And a lot of times maybe you do have to show more proof to your friends. And something that I've also heard from others is that if you have great friends, you're just going to have to learn to see them less, because you guys are both going to be busy. If they're going to be great, they're probably busy. They're doing something. So it means you're going to have to be by yourself, which can make you feel super lonely. But in the end, you're really not that lonely, because somebody else is doing the same thing you are, And you gotta understand that you have people. You have people in the world that are doing the same thing, that are actually, they can actually feel where you're at. Instead of feeling all the time that nobody understands, there is somebody else out there doing exactly what you're trying to do, making hard decisions like you are. And so somebody does understand. You guys are just both so busy, you guys can't find each other right now. You guys can't talk to each other right now. You guys can't share, the journey as much. You guys can't share the moments as much because the moment ends up being with yourself. And that ends up being the hard journey. But I also think in the end that those are some of the most awesome and meaningful moments, is sharing also it all with yourself and understanding that you did it, that you were able to become exceptional away from everybody else, from the standard, from the average. So anyways, I thought this was a good time to talk about this. I have a little bit more understanding about it, and I've also had to make tough conversations myself, so I thought you guys should know. And if you guys want more videos like this or lessons like this, feel free to follow along. I've been trying since the beginning, like I said, in my pre-teens, to learn business so then I can share all the lessons along the way. That's been my goal since I was even just a younger kid, and I've had a lot of different challenges within different industries of real estate, lawn maintenance. I've seen the e-commerce industry. That was one of them I was trying to get into, or affiliate marketing, content creation. I've probably dabbled or talked to somebody in all of the new, crazy, fun business idea ventures. And I try to bring lessons that also can apply to a lot of different areas, and I think this is one of them where, this is even just for business owners. This can be if you just want to accomplish or get through a challenge within your life. You want to get through something that's very personal, that digs deep, that just sometimes needs a little bit of separation so that you can do that focus on yourself, period. And focusing on yourself can make you stronger, and doing it all by yourself can make you stronger. And it doesn't mean you can't always ask for help. It can't always ask for advice. It doesn't mean you can't hire employees to work under you and with you and get to that goal, but understand that you need to work with more people that are actually directly affecting that goal. And then there's always ways you can track it with measurements. So I just want to extend that to you because I'm going to make more videos just like this one. It's always my goal to learn more and share more, and that's what I'm doing. So follow along if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next one.